Joining us tonight, American Conservative Union Chairman Matt Schlapp, author, columnist, Fox News contributor Jedediah Bila. Matt, you've got to be overwhelmed by the generosity of the White House, willing to share some information after the fact with the governors.
Yeah, I mean, the scary thing with President Obama, both not only on the Syrian refugee issue, but climate and all these things by which he's gone around Congress to get done, is that he seems to be totally he's totally forgetful of the fact that we have separation of powers and Congress has a constitutional role to play in all these questions. And I just thank God for these Republican governors who have stood up. And by the way, there were 47 or 48 Democrats in the House who also stood up and said this policy is insane.
You know, the president doesn't seem to be, Jedediah, paying attention to the fact during his tenure as president. I mean, he's lost state legislatures. He's lost the Senate. The majorities just keep rolling up here. He's been devastating to the Democratic Party. Yeah. His arrogance in this instance, and apply it to climate change when he should be leading on the issue of destroying the Islamic State as he promised. I mean, the Democratic Party is likely to pay a tremendous price for his arrogance.
Yeah, and he acts like he's doing everyone a favor all the time. Well, you know, you'll have this information after they've already been resettled. What good does the information do at that point? And if you look at the polling on this issue, it shows that people are very wary of this. Right. They're very suspicious about these refugees. They're opposed, by and large. But that's not, he doesn't care. That's not who he is. He has an enormous ego. He's in to make something happen.
Is this insensitive of me? I no longer care what he cares about. You know, Richard Cohen said it, Matt.
That's true.
The man is devoid. He seems to be now, if ever, he's not passionate. He is willing to. He talked for 14 minutes, for crying out loud, with 146 other world leaders in attendance who were only allotted 3 minutes. He's quite something.
What happened with President Obama is this strange phenomenon in the new information age where he was on the cover of every magazine. He was talked about constantly all over the television and every newspaper so aggressively for so many years. And you look at his approval ratings, I do think the American people are exhausted of him. And what's interesting about President Obama is I think he's actually tired of the American people. When he talks, when he's at these press conferences, he's no longer trying to convince people to be our better selves. He's more reprimanding us for the fact that we're so slovenly and so bad. And it comes across loud and clear.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to ask you, Jedediah, as I watch him talking, and somebody said to me, this is a direct quote today, it's as if he is on unnamed drugs.
Yeah.
He is, and I'm thinking, you know, this man lacks so much. He's listless. He seems bored, tired, as Matt says, perhaps of all of us in this country. But it sort of also makes me think of something that Dr. Keith Abloh said here, that he's a narcissist. What happens when a narcissist falls out of love?
He's terribly self-absorbed, and he also doesn't show any empathy, which is something I notice all the time. This was a guy who was able to get elected twice, convincing people that he felt their pain. Why? Because he's a professional campaigner. That's what he does best. The problem is now he's been having to actually be president. He doesn't like being president. He doesn't like the responsibility. He doesn't want to be the leader of the free world because that's a huge responsibility, and he's not willing to do the job. So he has one foot out the presidential door. That's what we're seeing.
Well, we know some people who do want that responsibility and who are trying to get a foot in the door. Matt, what do you think of the organized attacks now by the establishment spending money on these ads attacking Donald Trump?
Look, I think it'll be completely impotent. I talk to people in this town all the time who are plenty worried about Donald Trump being the Republican nominee, and it kind of makes me chuckle because there's nothing they can do to derail Donald Trump. Donald Trump is either going to succeed or fail on his ability to convince grassroots Republican primary voters that he's the guy who should be their nominee for president. It's between the voter and the candidate. And these people in Washington for the first time, many of them are completely powerless to play a big role. I think it's great.
He's given everyone a template. He talks straight. He talks, obviously, without any concern for political correctness. But he brings passion and verve. Why the hell don't they act more like Donald Trump?
You know, I would warn, because they're afraid to.
Well, because in that case, they're going to get the faith they deserve.
Politicians are afraid to be real people. They think they need to get on stage and tell us what we want to hear.
Half of these folks are not only not real people.
Yeah.
They don't really give a damn how many people they bore. I mean, John Kasich, for crying out loud, Mr. Nice. Yep. He acts like he deserves by birthright. I mean, he's more entitled than some of the people we're supposed to think of as entitled.
I would warn the Rubio supporters. Rubio is going to get a large establishment support base. I would warn them, don't follow that tactic. Don't follow that Jeb Bush route of going after Donald Trump. It's not going to help you. A lot of conservatives like Donald Trump. A lot of people on the right respect what he's doing and what he's saying and how he switched up the race.
You're speaking about a person who doesn't need to be told to be interesting because he's engaging. His language, his tone.
Yeah.
He is extraordinarily. I think.
Yeah, but you know what?
Jedediah is right here. He needs to be. The trap for him is he's now getting all these endorsements from sitting senators, sitting congressmen, a lot of big billionaire donors.
See, you're saying that there's a price for that. There's a quid pro quo.
There is.
I'm saying with
too many of our donors there are, that's for sure.
Do you guys want to tell us who you're polling for, right? Have you got a candidate yet, Matt?
No.
I don't have a candidate. As the chairman of ACU and CPAC, I'm holding my water till we get through CPAC.
I couldn't help myself, Matt. I won't apologize because I've learned that from Trump.
Lou, when people like you don't run, I just don't know what to do.
Matt, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Jedediah?
Thank you.
You want to declare?
No, I will. Jeb Bush is not my candidate. I feel very comfortable saying that.
Okay, well, 14 to go. Thank you both for being here.